Hello, everybody. I would like to say congratulations to all of the River of Words poets and artists. Your amazing work shows such deep insight and feeling and creativity. Your reflections of the natural world, whether they're poems or paintings, show your keen connection to the environment and your sense of place within it. Thank you for sharing your inspiring creations. They are truly a gift to readers and viewers, especially in these challenging times. I hope you all continue to write and create art, not only for your own self-expression, but to bring that beauty into the world. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have been an English teacher at JFK Middle School in Northampton, Massachusetts for about 17 years. I'm in a new position this year as a reading specialist. We're in a sort of small city in Western Massachusetts. And I was first introduced to the River of Words project in 2013 by the mom of one of my 7th grade students at the time, Margaret Babbitt. And together with another row mentor, Smith College professor Carol Berner, as well as another local teacher, parent, and poet, Nancy Allen, we devised an interdisciplinary team field trip to the Smith College campus. So at our middle school, we work in teams. We have 100+ students on each team. So it's a big deal to go on a field trip off of our JFK campus here. And we're lucky enough to have Smith College in our town to use as a resource, which is wonderful. So at Smith, we divided students into 3 groups, and they rotated between the art museum, the really lush greenhouse, and Paradise Pond. And at each of those locations, students engaged in interactive activities. The pond was the primary site for their observations of nature, and that would inspire their poems. We were so thrilled that first year at the amazing poetry that came out of our students that we wanted to capture their voices. So we hired a videographer and we did a recording of students reading their poems outside of school on a very sunny spring day. Subsequent years serendipitously brought us exhibits at the Smith Art Museum that were very natural tie-ins to the River of Words. One year there was a landscape photography exhibit called The Eye is a Door, and it featured landscapes from all over the world. And afterward, we found out that the photographer was also a poet and had written haiku to go with each photograph. So that was an extra bonus with that one. We asked students when they toured through that exhibit to choose a photograph that really spoke to them and to record some observations of it, as well as their feelings about it. And then at Paradise Pond, they considered both the outer landscape of the pond, as well as their own inner emotional landscape. Another year featured a very different kind of exhibit at Smith called Plastic Entanglements, which simultaneously taught us about the damaging effects of plastics in the environment, while also showcasing artwork that was made from all that detritus. In addition to writing poetry that year, students brought into school plastic refuse from their own homes, and they worked in teams to create mythological creatures from it. In each year, no matter what the poetry prompts and projects were, all 100+ students contributed lines to create class stanzas. And then we composed the class stanzas into a big team poem. One year, a group of students painted a canvas mural, and they inscribed the team poem on the mural, and that now hangs in our school library. Another year, we attempted a very large scale mural intended for our courtyard, but it experienced some art technical difficulties, and ultimately it had to be dismantled. However, lesson learned, it's all about the process and not the product. One year, a class painted a mural in the hallway titled "The River of Words Flows from One Year to the Next." And each student hung a raindrop that it was inscribed with lines of their poetry for next year's students to pluck off the board and use as a bookmark. In 2019, one of our students, Troy Rivera, was a finalist in the contest. And that year we melded the Row project with Greek mythology, because at the time we were reading mythology. So during a visit to a local park that we could walk to from our school, students considered observations of the natural environment of the park, but also the supernatural environment of their imagination. And that inspired some really moody and intriguing poetry that was steeped in allusions to mythology. In thinking back over all these projects, I can't really say that there was a particular highlight, but through all of them, I think the greatest reward has been witnessing just how empowering the process was for students to experience the natural environment and to be inspired by it to write poetry. First, they had the opportunity to move their learning beyond the cinder walls of our school. And that's not always easy to do in a large public school, but this gave them a chance to just be in a place outside in a moment without the chatter and bells and other noises of school. And that gave them the time and the space to really dive inside themselves while also heightening their awareness of their surroundings, giving them a sense of belonging to that emotional and physical space that they were in. I believe that poetry is a very natural, empowering medium for adolescents. They're freed of the constraints of academic English, and they can really experiment and manipulate language to truly express their thoughts and observations and emotions. Poetry, I think, gives students a command of language, a way to connect language with thought that's very personally relevant to them. And that's a really empowering experience. So as a teacher, when you see that empowerment take root in a student, it's truly the greatest reward. I really hope that the River of Words curriculum continues to inspire teachers to move at least some of their teaching and learning beyond the classroom walls so that students can find their own sense of place in the natural world. I hope also that students who engage in these experiences continue to write and draw and paint and sculpt and sing and act and dance as a way to demonstrate their knowledge of the environment and their sense of place within it.